Here are two for you to try. We have x squared minus 26 equals 11x, and 9y equals 6y squared. So pause the video, try them on your own, and then we'll attempt them together. Okay, well there's a helpful tip for these kinds of questions. Scan the equation. If you see both x squared and x, move everything to one side of the equal sign and get 0 on the other. Okay, let's do that here. So I'm looking at this equation, I see both an x squared and an x, so I'm moving everything to the left-hand side by subtracting 11x from both sides, minus 11x. We have x squared minus 11x minus 26 equals 0. Now we go to factor this thing. Okay, we need factors of 26, make that factors of negative 26 that add to 11. Well, how about 13 and 2? X and x minus 13 plus 2 equals 0. Then we use the zero factor property to set each one of these equal to 0. That gives x equals 13, x equals negative 2. Okay, let's try the second one. Same tip applies here. We have both, well, a y squared and a y. So I'm going to get 0 on one side of this equality. Now I don't want to subtract 6y squared from both sides to get a negative. So I'm going to instead subtract 9y from both sides. So I'm doing minus 9y minus 9y. That gives 0 equals 6y squared minus 9y. Next we factor out the greatest common factor. Here I'm thinking the greatest common factor is, let's see, 3y. Okay, so doing that, we get a 3y out to the front. That leaves 2y minus 3 behind. Remember, when we factor out a greatest common factor, we're really dividing each term by it. Dividing each term by it as we bring it out to the front. Okay, equals 0. Now we use a zero factor property to set each one of these terms equal to 0 and solve. Well, 3y equals 0, we just divide by 3, that gives us y equals 0, there's 1. And 2y minus 3 equals 0, we add 3 and divide by 2, we get y equals 3 halves. Okay, so there's our two answers for that one. Be careful here. Did you happen to divide both sides by y to get rid of the y? If you did that, you lost one of your solutions. So avoid doing that. You can divide both sides to get rid of something if it's a number that you're simplifying down, but don't do it to both sides to get rid of a variable. You want to keep all your variables in so you make sure that you capture all your solutions. Let's try another one. Here are two more for you to try. We have quantity y minus 5 times quantity y minus 2 equals 28. And 4x squared minus 20x equals negative 5x squared minus 6x minus 5. Pause the video, try these out on your own, and we'll compare notes on the flip side. Okay, we'll use the same tip. If you see a y squared and a y anywhere in the problem, get everything to one side of the equal sign, get a 0 on the other. Well, I don't quite see a y squared, but I know if I FOIL this together, I'll get a y squared and a y. So let's do that. FOILing gives y squared minus 2y minus 5y plus 10. Okay, and then we still have equals 28. Y squared minus 7y plus 10 equals 28. Okay, and now we spot the y squared and the y. That means we want a 0 on the other side of the equal sign here. Okay, so y squared minus 7y, subtracting the 28 off from both sides, minus 18 equals 0. Now we're ready to factor and solve this thing. Okay, so we need two numbers that multiply to negative 18, but add to negative 7. How about negative 9 and positive 2? Y minus 9, y plus 2. Alright, now we set each one of these terms equal to 0. That's a zero factor property, and solve. That gives us y equals 9. and -2. Let's try the second one. Again, we have an x squared and an x, and the tip says that if you scan the equation and you see both an x squared and an x, then you want to get everything on one side and a 0 on the other side of the equal sign. Okay, so let's do it. Let's see here. I can add a 5x squared to both sides. Okay, I can add a 6x to both sides. And I can add a 5 to both sides. By doing that, I get a 0 on the right-hand side. 4x squared plus 5x is 9x squared. Negative 20x plus 6x is minus 14x. And then we have a plus 5 equals 0. Now we want to factor this. I'll use the diamond method for this one. A, B, and C. Remember that the diamond method tells us to put AC here, B here, AX over, AX over. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so we have A times C is 45, B is negative 14, AX is 9x, and then we do our dividing line, 9x dividing line. Okay, now we want to find factors of 45 that add to 14. Factors of 45 that add to, negative 14. Well, I know 45, it's not 1 times 45, but 45 is, how about 9 times 5? 9 times 5 equals 45, and 9 plus 5 equals 14. So now let's just tinker with it a little bit to get the negative signs correct. Negative 9 times negative 5. There we go. Now if we add those together, we get negative 14, but if we multiply them together, we get positive 45. So here we write negative 9, negative 5, simplify, so this becomes x over negative 1, and then we read it down like that. So our factors are indeed x minus 1, 9x minus 5 equals 0, which we can then quickly solve with the zero factor property. X equals 1, x equals 5 ninths. There we go. Both of these are good exam level questions.